So we're going to be talking about Ready to Love episode 8. So this episode, it left a lot to be desired, but it was still pretty interesting to me. So we have 6 dudes left, and they're in power. So they start out in the men's lounge, and Tommy's been thinking. He wants them to introduce their soon-to-be's to their not-anymores. So, okay, when he said that, the looks on their faces when Tommy said that, priceless. Frank was one of the faces that looked to be more blown to me that they had to even have these conversations or whatever. So, I don't know. I thought about that too. I was like, would I do that for any of my exes? And I do have a couple of exes that I would do it for. Because I'm nice. You know what I'm saying? But would I call any of my exes, or what ex would I call if I was doing this? And I just came to the conclusion that I probably wouldn't call any exes. Like, I would have probably, me personally, which is redundant, but I would have thought to myself, who do I want to give the chance to be on TV? Do any of my exes deserve to be on TV? I would have not been thinking about this in the sense of, I don't think I would have called any of my exes. I don't know. That's just me. I would have been thinking of it from a total different standpoint. So up first, we got Cornelius. And Cornelius is, well, I'll just say this about all of the exes. I don't believe that all of these people are their exes. I don't know. Camille, of course, came with the faces, but she was a lot more genuine than I'm used to seeing her so far this season. So I did appreciate the fact that she was being a lot more focused on whatever the conversation was or whatever. But celibacy came up. And it was interesting to me because I heard somebody on an interview saying that the celibacy thing was just something that he wanted to do on the show or whatever. But if the ex knows about his celibacy, then he's been doing this for a minute. And so that's kind of interesting or whatever. But the 3 exes thing did come up. I mean, the 3 engagements that Camille had came up, and I just got to be honest, like, I would want to know, like, what's different, because that is kind of like, what is happening right now? This is my pen. Anyway, that's a side eye, but she was, she seems to be more open for conversation, and she was irritated about the questions, which is funny because she's usually the ones with all the intrusive, she's usually the one with all the intrusive questions. So Camille, you had to go through that question as this. You had to. It was an okay situation, but I noticed that this episode had a lot of flies in the scenes. But for this particular scene, I feel like they could have edited this out. It was only Cornelius and his ex talking.
Did you just walk across my laptop? No respect. Don't do that again.
Anyway, it was just Cornelius and his ex. And the fly was like right here. But she had to do like this. You know what I'm saying? So they could have like just been like, okay, let's just take that out, or let's re-record it again, because it was only those 2 people. Anyway, look.
Now, if you like, I'm going to propose to her tomorrow, I'd be like, you might want to weigh in that, bro. Right.
They couldn't take that out. These editors / producers, whatever, I don't know, but I just thought that was crazy. So then you got Phil, and his ex. His name's Sabrina or Zabrina. I couldn't tell if it was an S or a Z, but Phil has his ex, and he invites out Shiloh and Tasia. Now, I'm not feeling these double dates that they're doing when they're meeting people. Like how they did Sean and Walter, where they did Walter first and then Sean comes in after that. Okay, fine. But together, it's kind of like, what are you expecting to happen here? Because the person who's the third wheel, or the person who gets there last, is on the outside. And so what do you want them to do? I feel like they should at least be staggered. You know what I'm saying? Like, give them a fair chance to actually meet people and ask their own questions and things like that. It just doesn't make sense to me that they're double dating when meeting friends. And Tasia was not feeling it at all. Phil picked up on her change of energy, and he looked at it like she wasn't as confident or whatever. When, I mean, the ambiance sets the tone, and y'all have already been sitting here. Y'all already talking and everything. Y'all might even have had drinks on the table. And then she comes up and it's like, now she got to like catch up and fit in. Like, she's automatically an outcast in the situation. An outsider. She's automatically an outsider in the situation. And that's not right. I don't know why they do that. But I did like the way that Tasia answered the question of her toxic traits. She actually said that she could be too uptight and she doesn't go with the flow. When Frank was asked the same question, he came up with something like, I care too much. That was a non-genuine answer to me. So I like the fact that Tasia was real about something that was a trait that she didn't, let me see what they called it. A bad trait. She gave a real answer that a lot of people can relate to. Shiloh asked Phil's ex, what are his red flags? And Phil was like, oh, well, that wasn't the assignment. The ex was supposed to come in and grill them to get information for him. But I like the fact that Shiloh asked that question. So that was good. But then when they were about to leave, Shiloh was like, oh, we got to go anyway. So I wonder where they were going. Maybe we'll find out later on in the season or at the... Can I help you? What do you want? What? Maybe we'll find out at the reunion or something like that. So then we got Frank, who invited Sydney and Mumin. Sydney was ready. Sydney had questions in her phone for the ex. She had a whole list. Frank's faces while the girls were saying how much they liked him and what they liked about him was so creep life. I was like, Frank, fix your damn face. One of them asked what was the reason that they broke up or what contributed to their breakup or something like that, and the ex said that he stopped showing a lot of attention. That's not gonna work with Sydney. Sydney already said she wants somebody to sweat her, tell her how you feel and that you care about her and stuff like that. So Frank gonna need to make a decision to get it together if he's gonna be with Sydney. So then we got Walter, who invited Mumin and Sabrina. I don't feel like this is Walter's ex either. Like, don't ask me how I know. I just don't. I'm not feeling like this was an actual ex. But we'll go with it. Whatever. But the ex asked. Okay, so Sabrina shows up first, and they sit down and they start talking. And Sabrina politely lets her know that if she has some, sir. Sabrina is like, I don't have anything to ask you because anything... Can I help you? Sabrina's like, I don't have anything to ask you because anything I would like to ask, I can ask Walter. And then Mumin shows up. Mumin shows up and Sabrina's like, oh, hell nah. They're not about to play me like this. I'm out. Daddy know where home is. Now, at this point, I'll go ahead and say that the editor's shadiness is about to kick in. They're going to play Sabrina saying, Daddy know where home is. And just for the conversation to come between the ex and Walter about who he should pick. And the ex says that Sabrina looks like she's keeping her composure and that she's going to go off if she gets... Listen, if you think that Mumin won't go off, you are tripping. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I digress. I feel like Sabrina was like, I got something else to do. This is, it's something else better that I could be doing right now. Y'all not about to play me like this. I thought I was coming to be on a date with the person I'm interested in. We need some one-on-one time. But no, I'm out. That's how I felt that she was. And Mumin was asked about the sex question. And if she wasn't paying attention to Walter's face when the question was asked or when she was answering the question, Walter's not feeling that. We already know that. So that's why I don't understand why he would even consider. I don't know. So then you have Dante, Shiloh, and Zadia. What's interesting to me about Dante's date is that it wasn't one of his baby's mothers. And I would think that they would want to know or have some kind of input on who would be around their child. But again, what do I know? I don't believe this girl was his ex either, but we're going to go with it. Again, with these double dates, like, I don't think that is fair when they're meeting somebody. Like, okay, if they all together or whatever, but when it's time for somebody to actually meet somebody and focus on questions, like, come on now. Like, I don't know what they're doing with this show as far as this situation goes, because the double dates is not working for me when they meet people. Whether it's friends, family, or exes. No double dates. Because Zadia looked blown like I don't know what when Shiloh arrived. I feel like, again, we probably missed a lot of good stuff in editing this week, because who knows what was said on those dates with the exes. Or what questions was asked. So anyway, they get back to the men's lounge and they start to talk about, again, who they're feeling and who they're not feeling. And so it's so funny how, things go. It's 6 dudes left and 7 women. So it is a lot of overlapping and people liking the same people and things like that. So there was a part where Tommy had to ask Cornelius. On this part, Tommy was like, how we all probably are. Take a look at this.
She's about to leave. What's happening? I'm like, I'm gonna talk to her for a second. And she said, "You sure?" I said, "Dude, it's cool. Like, relax. When you gonna let me know what we going on with that?" I'm like, "I'm gonna let you know. I got you." So
that's not a sign at all. I think you avoid some signs.
Some signs. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
All right, fellas. Who are you?
Even Tommy sees it. And so Cornelius was forced to be like, well, yeah. Get it together, Cornelius. This is crazy. Well, so everybody goes around and says the people they like and stuff like that. But I noticed that Phil did not mention that he had a separate date with Sid. Or did he? It might have been edited out. We didn't see that he told them that. But then they go around the room to talk about people who they're not feeling. And so Walter says that he would say Camille, but he's not going to do that because he the loyalty to his bro Cornelius or whatever. And I don't know whether they filmed this part like separately and put it together or it actually happened in succession like this, but roll out. He was like, we need to not vote Camille, should be a rule. He was trying to be loyal. And as soon as he said that, Phil said Sabrina needs to be in the bottom. Phil said he wasn't feeling Sabrina and put her in the bottom. And so the fuck did Cornelius. Cornelius said Sabrina. This dude just, so that's what did this dude just sit here and say that he wasn't putting your woman in the bottom out of respect for you, and you turned around and put his woman in the bottom? I don't know if they did that like that on purpose as far as editing, or if like that really happened like that. That is a prime example of why when you're making decisions like this, you should make the best decision for yourself and not consider other people in situations like this. And sometimes things cause a chain reaction too. Had Walter put Camille in the bottom, somebody else might have done it as well. So anyway, I don't know what to say about that, but Camille and Cornelius need to just stop playing around. I'm sick of them. Sick of them. So then we get to the 2 people that's in the bottom. It's Tasia and Sabrina. Phil takes Tasia out, and this is where the other fly incident happens. There's a moment where Phil is explaining to Tasia what they talked about in the men's lounge, and there's a fly, and it did look like she had to wave a fly away when she first sat down, but there's a fly sitting on the top of her head. I know that production saw this shit when they were editing. Like, this is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it was something that they couldn't cut out. I don't know. Anyway, and then the fly went and sat on her food. Just take a look.
You weren't ready to love.
Okay.
And I wanted to tell you that because I value you. I feel like what we talk about in our connection and shit.
Anyway, The editor's getting blamed for everything in my book. They shady, and I don't know. But so then Frank and Sabrina go out. I really like the scenery of their date. The ambiance was really nice. I like the way that Sabrina spoke up. The men apparently weren't being responsive, and it's like, come on, what you want me to do? I can only work with what you're giving me. If you're not giving me nothing, I mean, I'm over here. So, you know, I am glad that Sabrina did not go home. I'm sad that Cecilia went home because I feel like Camille is taking up a spot that she doesn't need to be taking up. But I digress. Cecilia went home. I can't wait to catch some of her interviews just to find out her perspective on stuff. The interviews after they leave are very insightful because they provide a lot of context of what we're missing on this little bitty portions that we see on TV. So, anyway, you know, I guess top women this week is going to be Sabrina. It's going to be Sabrina, Shiloh, and Zadia. I'm going to keep it the same as last week because not much really changed. You know what I mean? So the women should have the power next week. But who knows with all these curveballs that Tommy's throwing. It looks like they're about to go out of town. It looks like they're about to go out of town and shit is about to get heated. It looks like it's about to get real. We're going to tune in next week and we're going to see what happens. They need to start narrowing down this thing and getting into some real couples if they're there, because I don't really know if I predict that any love came out of this season. So fucking probably came out of this season, but I don't know if any love connections came out of the season. So it'll be interesting to see the reunion or whatever. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I do want to say that we want to send condolences to Sabrina, Miss Sabrina Soul. Her mom passed, and we are keeping you in our prayers and send positive vibes. Until next time, you guys. Bye.